You know, every night when I get home from work, I check the internet, and I like to keep up to date on the news and what's going on. But all I feel is a sense of helplessness for the men, women, and children that don't have an opportunity to live as we do. They don't even have an opportunity to live according to their most basic human rights. Why is it that some of us are afforded the opportunity to live according to our basic human rights, while others can't even afford to survive?
You answered your own question with the words buy and afford. Although most countries have signed the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the problem of people not having the opportunity to exercise their human rights is due to the way the economy of the world system is set up.
Well, who cares how the world system is set up? Aren't human rights supposed to be legal entitlements, equally inherent to all human beings without discrimination, whatever our nationality, place of residence, gender, and so on?
Of course, they are supposed to be equally accessible to everybody. And in a legal sense, we are all equally entitled to our human rights. But
then why are 21,000 people still dying every day of starvation? Why are billions of people left with no choice but to exist in fear that wind and water may destroy their homes, leaving them out on the streets with no clothes on their bodies and nothing to eat? Where's their human right to security? Why are they forced to work in slave-like conditions in violation of their human rights?
The problem lies in what we value. Humans obviously value money more than we value life. And as everything we do is tied to money, everything including our human rights come with a price. Be it in euros, yuan, or US dollars, it all comes down to what we value most, money or life.
That's correct. Are you saying that human rights as legal entitlements are nothing more than options that can be purchased based on the amount of money that one has and one is willing to spend?
Effectively, that's the way it works within the current world system of money. Even though human rights are supposed to be applied equally to everyone, private ownership and the inequitable distribution of wealth end up limiting people's access to the resources, goods, and services needed to live according to their human rights. Here's the problem. Everyone is supposedly entitled equally to their human rights, but for some crazy reason, we are not entitled to the money needed to live according to those rights.
Well, okay, if the problem with human rights has to do with people not having equal access to the resources, goods, and services needed to live to their human rights, according to their human rights, perhaps we should solve the problem by establishing a Bill of Rights that includes an equal right to the resources along with the goods and services needed to live according to our human rights.
That's exactly what global citizens around the world are now doing.
Now, Thomas, I have a question regarding human rights. Do you think that since we have many different cultures and many different countries around the world, that people have the same definition of what basic human rights are?
That's a very good question. I have another question. As legal bodies, such as the United Nations, are seemingly incompetent, unable to ensure that every single human being is afforded their human rights equally, what are we as global citizens able to do to change the situation in the world so that everybody, every man, woman, and child has equal access to the resources, the goods and services required to live according to our human rights?
That's also a good question. And I hope that we someday will find the answer to it.